not getting anywhere.
If you don't get to zero,
Well, there are many scenarios in which you are not at zero, right? So, for example, in the first step, you are not at zero. So let's do another one. So when you are on step one, you are not at zero, but you're also not lost. So what needs to happen for you to lose, for you to know there is nothing else?
There are no white spaces.
That. There are no white spaces, okay? There are no empty spaces. How do we know if there are no empty spaces? So we're gonna create another variable that's gonna be called has empty, which starts at false. And then we're gonna do a for loop. Int I equals 0, I less than 4, again, of 0. And again, remember that this is not a strict code, which means some of the things are capitalized.
Not the loops.
Which is part of your homework, because if not, your homework becomes just copy pasting my code. So I have to tweak it a little bit. For int j, and then if the board of ij happens to equal 0, then what happens?
it's empty.
Right, so has empty becomes true, and then in here, if not has empty, then what happens?
Return false for the whole
Stays
thing.
false.
Returns false. Okay? This means that I tried to put stuff in my board and I could not find an empty space to put the queen, and the queens are not 0 because this is not 0 here, which means I need to put more queens and there is no more empty space. Yes? But I think I messed something up here. I do not want to leave this. So that ij can be replaced by this ij, so that one can go away. So then if there is no emptiness, then I return false. So at this point, I have to put a queen, and I know there are empty squares, so where do I put the queen?
First empty square.
In the first empty square, correct? So where is the first empty square?
0, 0.
No? Not necessarily, right? It could be anywhere. But I already found it, right? It's this. Correct? So these for loops, so let me make this for loop. So these two for loops are basically searching for the empty square, right?
Should we put there?
So in here, and then I'm gonna put some braces, because I'm gonna have to put one on one line. So in here, on top of saying has empty equals true, I've also found where to put the queen. Okay, it's exactly in that spot. Make sense? So I'm gonna call that the empty x and the empty y. Okay? So this is gonna be empty x equals I. Let's call everything I and j, so we don't have too many definitions of the same. So this is empty I and this is empty j equals j. Okay? So it has some empty, which is in these coordinates. So now what do I do?
You assign whatever,
Yep.
you assign Q to it, right?
So now I'm gonna assign a queen to this spot, right? right? That was the first thing we did. Painting yellow is what we did here, right? So then I'm gonna say board of empty I, empty j equals 1, which means I'm gonna put a queen in there. So that is the equivalent of us painting a square yellow. And what is the thing that we did after we painted the thing yellow?
Grade all the other stuff
We
out.
grade out. So that is the next step. So how do we grade out?
So for the I, from that spot +1.
Yeah, so this is complicated. So you have to grade horizontally. Right? Yep.
Can we go back to the, where you put the queen and you put a 1 there?
So in
Shouldn't
this,
you be using the queen variable somehow?
no, the queen variable already plays a role, which is, this is only there to count how many queens are missing. Actual queens are a number 1. So if you think of it in this board, if these are numbers, this is 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, sorry, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. And this one is 0, 0, 0, 4 zeros. So when I come and put a queen in here, what I actually do is I turn the 0 into a 1, and then I grade things out, which are the 2's. Okay? Just an issue because I can't grade the thing out, I have to use numbers. I eventually could use letters, but that's what that is. Okay? So I'm gonna grade them out. So to grade horizontally, what I have to do is say for int I equals 0, I board length 0. And notice that in this one I'm only using length of 0 because all the chessboards are squares. Okay? You could argue that I need to put a length of 1 in here and that will be fine. But again, this is a chessboard, so it's supposed to be a square. So I do that, and then how do I grade horizontally?
So the row is still the same, but the column +1.
Right, so the board of I empty j is now 2. Is that correct? I keep the, well, it depends on how we
Yeah, how you default.
Okay, this is grade horizontally. How do we grade vertically?
Opposite, so for
J.
Yeah, MPIJ, which we can do in the same for loop, right? Sorry, MPII. Well, I can put in 2 loops. Here.
Oh, because you're putting a,
Because this number is the same in both
Mhm.
directions.
lecture.
If you want to make it, if it's simpler for you, you can put in 2 for loops and iterate in for in J, but it's exactly the same. Because this number is gonna go from 0 to length minus 1. So imagine you have the other one, which will be for J equals 0, J less than that, J plus plus. And now you say board of empty IJ equals 2. This is the same as what I just had, right? Because there is no difference between the I and the J. I just named differently, but it's the same thing. Okay? Okay, so that's my grade horizontally and vertically. How
Yeah.
do I grade diagonally?
The cross.
Sorry?
you have to be adding 1 or subtracting 1 to something.
So you-
So that is substantially more complicated, because if I am here, I have to find the left diagonal and the right diagonal, and then this one and that one. Okay? So I have to find all these squares that are not in a trivial position. Make sense? Sort of? Yes. Okay, so that one is gonna be fully your homework.
That's why I don't know what to answer.
is too long to write. It's too long to write. Okay, and so when everything is grayed out, what is the next step?
Move to the next empty.
Correct, but you have to move to the next empty recursively.
So you have to check for the whole board, see if white space again.
That you already did, so now you're basically recursively
You
solving the
re-
problem.
okay.
So what do you do to do that?
Reduce the number of queens.
Right, so you call the same thing but reduce the number of queens.
So recursive.
Right,
Can we-
now it's a recursion, right? So the next step is return has solution of
Board
board, comma,
Q minus one.
exactly, board of Q minus one. Okay, because now the board has been modified, I placed another queen, so I can keep playing. Correct? So this will work fine with a major catch, which is, this assumes that it's working, right? So remember when I got stuck at the end, I actually had to undo.
Yep.
Okay, that undo is not here.
Hmm.
Make sense? Yes? I have to be able to undo. So this is assuming that there is a way to keep going through, but remember that at certain points in here, when I put the queen there, so when I put the queen here, and then I grade everything out, and then I put the queen here, I put the queen here, and then this became gray. Okay, and then I put the queen here. At this point, what do I need to do?
Set the whole array back to 0.
Not to 0. How many undos do I have to do?
2.
Remember, I'm undoing. When do I stop undoing? So I undo this, right? I undo this, right? And now I undo that, and this, and that. But now I can put a queen, right? Yes, so now I can try putting a queen here. So I have to undo until the previous thing that actually blocked the scenario. Okay? So that actually sounds horrible, but it's not as bad a problem. So what basically happens is that I cannot just try the one empty spot. I need to try all the empty spots. Correct? This is exactly what we did, right? So we tried one, and if it didn't work, we erase the work, and then we try the next one. Yes? No? Yes? Okay.
You're erasing the queens off the board, right?
The queens and the gray. Both the queens and the gray needs to go away. Because once I remove a queen, the gray area that it has impact on needs to go away.
Yeah, so wouldn't that be?
So we do
send the
opposite.
whole board back to 0?
Not the whole board, just the effect of the last queen. Correct. And then if that keeps blocking, you go one back. Eventually, you're going to remove everything. But per step, you don't have to remove everything. You can just remove
The queen
the previous step.
in horizontal.
Okay. So then that. No, that's not hard. That basically says that in here, we were too aggressive with this. Because now we are always trusting that the result is going to come out of the one empty space. Okay? Instead of that, we basically need to try all the empty spots. Okay? So that means then that I will take this out. This is a not pretty part. And I have to do this. Including the homework. for each of this. All of this. This is the part where using alpha was kind of messed with the idea. Create diagonally and then in here we're gonna say if has solution of this, then what happens? So if I try one of these empty things, which is now
Excuse me.
I use the same name too many times. So this is empty I. And this is now empty J. Sorry, call everything I and J. Okay. So now the empty I and empty J, I am letting it move across the full board. And so now I say, if I find it, so if it has solution of board and Q minus 1, then what has happened? If it has a solution, then what do we need to do?
So check for Q minus 2.
No, we already know that because the check for Q minus 2 is embedded in the check for Q minus 1. Correct? So if I found it, I found it. That's it. If this has solution, then
True.
return true. Okay? If it doesn't have a solution, then just keep trying. Okay? And then if I didn't find anything, then return false. Okay? Which means I also don't need this anymore. Okay? So if I found the solution, then I return true, if not I return false. Now the catch is that I'm still not able to roll back, or I'm not able to undo my work. Okay? So the easiest way to undo your work is to basically save a copy of your previous work, and then if the thing didn't work, then scratch it and keep going. Make sense? So instead of having to try to trace back what I did, I can just remember where I was, and then if it didn't work, I just go back to where I used to be. Okay? So in terms of doing it manually, it will look something like this. I will start from scratch, no queens, nothing there. Okay? I'm gonna place a queen in here, but instead of placing the queen, I'm gonna copy the board and now place the queen in a new board. And now I'm gonna grade the things out. If I can find the grade. I'm gonna grade the things out. Find a darker gray. Grade the things out, grade the things out, grade the things out. And then instead of placing the next queen on the same board, which I may have to delete, I'm gonna copy this. And then I'm gonna place the queen in here. And I'm gonna grade out. Grade out, grade out, grade out. Okay, and again, instead of placing the queen there, I'm going to copy and do this. Now that didn't work. Okay? So then what do I do with this board?
Replace the first one with it?
No, I delete it.
Oh.
Just get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Right? This didn't work.
Oh, it didn't.
Go back to the
So
second
I remove
board.
this. What about this one?
Delete it.
Delete it, right?
That's what
Sorry. Delete it. Okay. What about this one?
I keep it.
Keep it, right?
Goes next.
So where am I gonna try to put the queen?
D21.
In here, right? But now instead of putting the queen here, I copy the board. Okay? So the fact that I'm copying the board is what allows me to undo. Every time I copy it, I have a thing that I can go back to. Okay? Okay, so then where do I copy the board? When did I copy it? In here?
When hash solution is true.
There is no more hash solution? No. When did I do the copy from all these operations that we're doing? Before doing what?
Before putting the first.
Before putting the queen. So where is that? So that is
There,
this.
yes,
Yeah. So where do I put that then?
before.
Okay, so here you have to say board one equals board dot copy, okay? So I'm copying the board. Then I'm sending board one to do all the work. And then I'm sending board one here. Okay? And this solves the problem. Because if it didn't work, the next iteration is gonna start from the previous board. It's gonna copy the board again, and it's gonna do it. Okay? Okay? Okay. Now, for those of you who are hesitating, we're gonna try it. Now, we're gonna try with the example of 4 because using 4 makes this much simpler. If we want to do 8, we'll be here until the day, we'll be until next year. Okay, so we're starting. Let me see if I can find a way to put everything on the screen at the same time. Okay, so this is the thing. I'm gonna save this before I lose all the thing. It should be very sad at this point. Okay, so I'm gonna put this next to the other one, and we're gonna manually execute this. I'll make sure there are no bugs. Notice that this follows the same pattern that we did the last time, where after writing the algorithm, we run through it to make sure it's not messed up. Okay, so I'm gonna start a new one.
So you're gonna send us that out?
I can post it if you want. It's not gonna work though.
Yeah, just to.
It gets you closer to the answer.
Yeah. So let's try.
Okay, so this goes away. Now fill, okay, so I have my 4x4, which is this, and I'm gonna start from the very beginning, and you're gonna try to follow and see if I'm making an error. So has empty died in the previous iteration. So I call this with Q, I put Q in this column too. So this is how many queens I'm looking for. So I'm looking for 4 queens in this board. Smaller. Okay, so this is the number of queens, and this is the board that I have the current point. Is Q 0?
No.
Yes.
No,
No, it's 4.
Oh.
So this doesn't happen. So sorry, this goes away. This is the awesomeness of fixing the thing. Okay, so MTI equals 0, correct? Can you see if I'm making it a little smaller? Then I can put the actual thing. So this is the board, this is Q, this is empty I, this is empty J. Okay. So empty I, the first iteration will be
0.
0, and the next one will be 0. And now what am I doing? No, before that,
Oh, copy of board.
I copy my board. Okay. And then what do I do?
Put.
Put a queen, let's put the zeros, because they actually belong here. Okay, so where do I put the queen?
First one. Excuse me.
MPI, MPJ.
Now we gray.
And now we grade, so we grade horizontally. So that's basically putting these twos, right? We grade vertically, those are those twos. We magically grade diagonally. Okay? And that's it, right? That's all we need to do. And now we're gonna call has solution with this new board that I have here. Okay? How much is Q?
Gray.
3. Okay? So now I go back to here, how much is MTI, MTJ?
4, 5.
So it's gonna go through, right? Because for, so there is a problem here, so this is MTI, MTJ. Right? So for this to stop, it needs to stop at a 0, right? So MTI, MTJ is gonna go around. Eventually, it's gonna find which position? No?
C9.
C9, which in terms of MTI, MTJ is
2, 1.
2, 1, because it's base 0. It's in the 3, 2, but we have to base it in 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 0, 1. Except that we're doing this backwards, but
Yeah.
we're doing it backwards over here.
Kind of
It's
backward.
symmetric, so don't worry. Usually use I for the rows
Yeah.
and for the columns. We're getting this confusion for a little bit. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and then I found MTI, MTJ. So what do I do with MTI, MTJ?
Copy.
Copy your board.
I copy a board. And then I put a point in there, and then
Right, 2.
horizontal, vertical, diagonal. Okay? Okay, and what do I do with this? I already copied it.
Check if there's a solution.
Q. Check Q is
Copy
0.
it again, right? With Q equals
2.
2. Okay, and now, what is the first step? No, I find MTI, MTJ. MTI, MTJ becomes
1, 3.
1, 3. Okay? And then I copy. And then the queen. And then,
No solution.
no. So yes, that's true, but then I call has solution with Q equals
1.
1.
No empty space.
And then it doesn't work, it doesn't find an empty spot, so it will return false. So now we're doomed, right? So we go back,
Go back to second one.
this board disappears, it goes away in memory, it actually literally disappears, and now we're back to this, okay? With the catch that when we came back, MTI, MTJ didn't lose their value. So now we're looking for the new MTI, MTJ. Where are we starting from? Sorry? Correct. No, not 2, 1. 2, 3.
So you will have to go back one
So-
more.
So you're right here, right?
Don't
So-
we delete this one too?
Yep.
Don't we delete this one too?
We do that, but for this reason, which is when we are stuck in here, we're still trying to find the next empty spot. There is no empty spot, correct? So this will basically finish this part, which didn't work, come around, try to find the next empty. It doesn't find it. So then
Oh, it'll false and then go.
return false. So this one dies. Okay?
Yeah.
So now we come here. It's very important though that the MTI, MTJ did not get forgotten, right? Because if not, we don't know where to continue.
So we go next horizontal.
Okay, so that is the key to being able to undo, which is I have to remember where I was by the time I was undoing. Okay, so now I'm here, I will do 1. So then MTI, MTJ are gonna become,
3, 1. Right?
Oh, well, it depends on how we're doing this.
No, you're not gonna put in the same spot because you know it's not gonna work. So you're gonna
We
move.
can put in 2-1 because we already went through the
Yeah.
2-1 iteration.
So you go move next.
Three,
So the next one we do 3,
2.
no,
Oh, 3 1.
3-1, which is this.
Yeah.
That is empty, so what's gonna happen next?
Where the code doesn't increase MPI,
The code increase MPI right here. So every time you fail, it goes back to this for loop. Eventually, the for loop runs out of places, so it exits down here. So basically, if you don't have any more emptiness to find, then false. If you have, that's the next one you need to try. Okay, so now we're in 3-1. 3-1 is emptiness. So what do we do?
Copy.
Copy, that's very important.
Point to
And then we put our queen in
that one.
here, we gray, right?
2 queen.
We make a 2 here, and then we go through the whole thing, and we're gonna notice that it doesn't solve the problem. Okay? So that reverts to this, so it dies. Okay? So eventually we're gonna notice that it doesn't solve the problem either. So this dies. And now we start from the very beginning. This is the full cleaning. So if you place the queen at the beginning and you cannot find anything, then eventually you have to clear everything up, which is this. We're back to all zeros. Okay? With the catch that we're back to all zeros knowing that we already tried 0, 0. So what is the next value of MTI? 1, 0.
does it do that on the first outer loop again?
That's what, right, correct. So that's like what this outer loop is trying to do. Okay, so this is a 1, so 1, 0, next step.
Copy.
Copy the stuff, next step,
3.
put the thing in here, right? Gray out. Put a 3, we're good to go.
Forgot it too.
Copy, and this here too,
C8.
right there. Okay, this is good because this is gonna finish, so queen is there.
So change it to 2.
So change, so we did too fast now, this is the step. So, we forgot to increase MTI, so we take this, we copy it, how much is MTI?
2.
2 and 1.
That would put it here.
No. Because we need to grade out, so 2, 1, that's not valid. We already moved it here, so the next step is 2 and 5. So we put the queen, we grade out. Grade out. We reduce